Welcome back to MGM and another Flames of War battle report. This week I had the opportunity to film a game with our local group, and Wade and Chris will square off in a league match. Since this game was filmed at the store, I do my best to keep up with the action, but also trying to stay out of their way. I'll try to narrate things the best I can, but if you see a mistake, it's probably because I misnarrated it. Chris is a piece of Team USA that recently won the ETC Team Championships in Belgium, so I trust he knows the rules. Let's take a look at the list Chris brought today from German Bulge. The formation is a Volksgrenadier company with 2 HQ units and a Panzerfaust, a Volksgrenadier assault platoon with 2 Panzerschrecks, and a Volksgrenadier rifle platoon with 2 Panzerschrecks. Also a Volksgrenadier 8cm mortar platoon, 12cm mortar platoon, and 7.5cm tank hunter platoon. He has some SS Schnell group with an HQ and SDKFZ 250, a scout troop with 3 additional SDKFZs, 2 with 2cm and 1 with machine gun, another group of 3 with a similar layout, and an armored 8cm SS mortar selection. In support, he has a Volks 10.5cm artillery battery with 6 howitzers, 3 Brigade Panthers, and 4 Brigade Panzer IVs. He rounds out the list with 11 points of command cards, in total 100 points. Wade has brought an infantry-heavy list from the American D-Day forces. It's an assault company with HQ, 5 assault boat selections with 5 rifles, 2 bazookas, 60mm mortar and flamethrower, 2 57mm anti-tank guns, and an 81mm mortar platoon. He also has another 2 57mm anti-tank guns. He has an M4 Sherman tank company as well, with 2 Sherman 75s in HQ, 3 Sherman 75s, 3 Stewarts, 3 more Sherman 75s, and 2 Sherman 105s. In support, he has a Greyhound Recon Patrol with an M8 Jeep and 37mm, and 2 more, 1 with a machine gun, and 1 with a 60mm on the other Jeeps. In total, 100 points. Today we'll be playing Dogfight, and Wade will be defending with Ambush, Deep, and Scattered and Delayed Reserves. He will also get to place 4 minefields. 2 objectives will be placed in the deployment zone, and the Germans will be attempting to seize one of those objectives. Wade has sent his armor into reserves and 2 of the 57mm guns into ambush. I hope you enjoy this battle report. It's a little different filming here than at home, but I hope it is still enjoyable for you. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more Flames of War content in the future. And with that, turn 1 is coming up next. And opening up, the Germans are attacking today, so they will get the first move. We've got a blitz maneuver from these Volksgrenadiers. This is the assault platoon. He rolls up a 5, and they're able to move a total of 12 inches forward. The Panthers are then going to take position on the hill. And then we have the SDKFZs that are tucking up out of line of sight behind the building. We have another infantry group on his right flank that issues a follow me order as he tugs into the building. That is failed, however. And with that, movement is complete, and we move into the shooting step. And these Volksgrenadier assault platoon, they are going to open up into the scout platoon of the Americans. 21 shots coming from those assault rifles, and they are going to hit on 6s. And those assault rifles open up, and he's going to only count 4 here. I think he missed a few. There's 2 more 6s there on the table than were counted. So we are going to assign those, but he does have 2 Panzerschrecks that fire needing 7s, and both of those are going to miss. We get those hits assigned. The one of the Greyhounds automatically going to be saved. He is going to try to mistaken target more of these onto the Greyhound, and he is going to pass one of these. That's going to be saved as well. The others are going to roll up saves. He rolls up a 3 and a 2, so those 2 Jeeps are going to be removed. Next, the 10.5cm artillery battery is going to range in on those 81mm mortars here in the field, and he's going to go ahead and roll up all 3 attempts on this in the order of red, white, and blue, and he's looking for 5s. He's not going to get anything. 12cm mortars line up to fire at the same target. Once again, rolling all 3 of these attempts at the same time, needing a 5 in order to convert on the range in. And dice are rolled up. It will be on the 3rd attempt. That is going to make them +2 to hit. He lines up the template and begins to rain down fire. And dice rolling up, first for the 81mm platoon in the front. 3 of those, all of them will miss. There is a mortar behind that has been hit along with some rifle teams. The mortar will be in white, the rifle team's in red. And with some 5s out there, he lands 2 hits, one on the mortar team and the other on the rifle team. Dice continue to roll out for the rifle team, and they are okay. The HQ in this unit is going to be struck. The bazooka team at the bottom, they are going to be okay. The flamethrower is going to be okay. And there'll be one more bazooka. Rerolling this cock die here, they are going to be struck by the mortar fire. 3 up infantry saves taken by Wade here. First on this mortar team in the front, that's going to fail. We do go to a firepower test, and it is no good. Working our way down the line on some of these rifle teams, needing 3 up to save. And so far, so good. The bazooka team in the back, also good. Another range-in attempt comes from one of the mortar platoons, and it is going to fail. We've then got the Panthers. They are going to open up against the mortar platoon for the Americans. 3 shots coming from the main cannons. All are going to miss. An additional artillery battery is going to fire at infantry units here that they can see. And rolling these up, red, white, and blue. The blue is going to range in. This was over terrain, so it is a +1 in order to range in. He rolls up a 6, and then he is going to measure that out, drop the template, and we are going to roll for artillery hits. And starting with the teams in the back, they are going to be okay. The flamethrower there in the middle is going to be struck by fire. We then roll up for the bazooka team, having to re-roll a cock die. He is okay. And then rifle teams across the front, he's going to get a hit there as well. The platoon leader is going to be missed. The bazooka team is going to have to re-roll a cock die. He will end up being hit by mortar fire as well. And starting to roll their 3 up infantry saves, and if failed, a firepower test will be required. That first one is going to be failed. The firepower is no good. The flamethrower fails the infantry save, and the firepower is good, so he is not so lucky. The rest of the saves are going to be made, and we flip over to the Panzer IV unit as they are going to open up main cannons into the infantry in front of them. 4 shots from the main cannons requiring 5s, and that is going to result in 2 hits. Once again, 3 up infantry saves are taken. That first one is going to be good. The second one is going to be good as well. And with that, we quickly flip to the Americans to see if this Greyhound stays in the game. He does not. He is going off the board. We're then going to roll up to see if some of these infantry units can unpin from being struck by artillery. And rolling up for this first platoon, they are going to successfully unpin. On the other flank, rolling up for another platoon hit by artillery fire. They fail, but they do get a reroll from the company commander, which is good, so that unit unpins as well. They are going to attempt a blitz maneuver, and that is going to fail, so they will stay in their foxholes. The platoon in the middle is going to issue a blitz order as well. That will be successful as they will move up behind the building, and then they are going to use a move at tactical speed to occupy some of these buildings, giving a wide front here for the Americans with this single platoon, the HQ being in this middle building. The movement step is concluded. We move into the Americans' shooting step. Those 81mm mortars are attempting to range in, having to re-range in as they're a little further away than they would have liked to be for their pre-planned artillery. So attempting to re-range in here, 3 attempts going out, and all of those are going to miss, needing a 5. And then we're going to see some shots come from the rifle platoon that moved into the buildings. Unfortunately, there's only one rifle team down there that can see them, and he is going to miss with his shots. We do have 3 more coming from the building on Wade's left flank. Just needing a 4 to connect here. These guys normally hit on 3s. One of those will go through. 3-up infantry save is taken and is successful. We've then got 60mm mortars over on Wade's right flank. This is Chris's left flank that are coming down on these grenadiers here and rolling these out. Red, white, and blue. Red being the first one will be the success. And these guys require 3s in order to hit with these mortars. That first assault team is going to be hit. The next one is going to be hit as well. Third assault team is going to miss going down the line. The fourth one is going to be hit. And then 2 of the Panzer Shreks, one of those is going to be hit. And the other one there is going to be hit as well. Now there is only a single tube firing, so he is going to need to re-roll these for successful hits. And dropping these back out again, we do see a success there. We see another success. Another rifle team in the front is not a success. And then the Panzer Shrek is going to be fine. The other one will be hit. I believe that is the HQ of this platoon. And with 3-up infantry saves to make, the white being the platoon leader, all of those are going to be good. They will be pinned down by fire, however. And we have another mortar team that is going to fire at the same spot, rolling to range in again. And 3 dice coming out, it will range in on the first attempt. And back over to roll for the hits, needing 3 ups. Going to roll these 2 at a time now, and Wade's going to get some really good rolls here, as almost every team in this platoon has been hit by mortar fire. And Chris rolling up for saves here, a Panzer Shrek and 3 infantry, the Panzer Shrek in white, and it looks like the Panzer Shrek will go down to the enemy mortar. We do see even more mortar fire coming along Wade's left flank, and this is going against this advancing infantry unit. That mortar team is going to fail to range in, however, on all 3 attempts, and we go back to the Germans for the top of turn 2. First in the starting step to unpin these grenadiers. They will successfully do so. After unpinning, those Volksgrenadiers are going to move forward at tactical speed, and then the SDKFZs are going to back them up towards the center of the board. Over on Chris's right flank, the Panzer Force are going to identify a route around to the back of these 57mm guns, and they have moved across this gap to bring guns to bear against them. And just to the left of them, the infantry platoon is going to move forward, occupying the buildings, taking defensive positions. In the shooting step, repeat bombardments coming out, first rolling up for those 3 mortars, just needing 3s to hit here, and all 3 of them will be struck. We then roll for that first row. There is a 60mm mortar in that group, so that will be the blue die, and all of those are going to hit as well. Total of 4 hits on 3 rifle teams and the mortar team. Rolling up next for that back row, again needing 3s. This is for the bazooka, a rifle team, as well as the HQ of this unit, and again needing 3s. That is going to result in 2 hits. And then dice towards the back, one of those is going to hit as well. Just a ton of mortar fire coming down on these guys, and 3-up infantry saves will need to be taken by Wade. And one of those 81mm mortar teams will be taken down after a successful firepower test, these having to be re-rolled or get 2 successful saves due to a repeat bombardment. And a lot of units are okay. We will see one of these rifle teams there in the middle go down as well. He is going to lose a bazooka team as well, and when the fire subsides from this repeat bombardment, this infantry platoon has really taken some casualties. The Panther tanks fire next. They are going to split fire with 2 from the main cannon going into the mortar platoon and the rest going into the infantry in the buildings here. They are up on the hill, so firing down, and the result is 3 hits on the infantry platoon in the building, needing 5s. Those hits are assigned, and we'll go to 3-up infantry saves. With 3-up infantry saves rolling out, those are going to be made, and then we've got another mortar platoon that is going to be firing back across the board in a repeat bombardment. After the smoke settles, there are a few of the infantry stands on that flank that go down, and we have mortar fire continuing from the middle as this platoon attempts to range in across the board. 3 dice coming out, and all of those are going to miss. We've then got the big guns, the howitzers, that are going to attempt to range in as well, and rolling those up, they will range in on the 3rd attempt. With hits being assigned, all are good except for a rifle team where they fail their save and a successful firepower roll takes them out of action. Back to the center of the board, the SDKFZs open up with their 2 centimeters and their machine guns into this platoon in the buildings here, hitting on 4s. And he's going to get quite a few successes on this, and rolling up 3 up infantry saves. There will be 2 going on to the bazooka team from one of the 2 centimeter and the other from a machine gun. And he is going to make all of his infantry saves on these. Over on the left flank, the Volksgrenadiers open up on this 81mm mortar platoon and getting a ton of shots from their assault weapons, but an abysmal roll here by Chris, and all of these infantry saves, there will be 1 fail, but it goes to a firepower dice which also fails, and those 81mm will survive. The rest of those SDK FZs are going to open up at this infantry platoon that is in the buildings here, and these are going to be much better, connecting with a lot of the 2 centimeters as well as one of the machine guns. All teams in that building are hit, and this unit was already pinned. Now they'll require 3 up infantry saves. And all of the infantry saves but 1 are going to be good. The one that failed went to a firepower test and it was successful, so 1 stand will be removed. And quickly moving to Chris's right flank, the Panzer IVs, 1 shot goes into the infantry close to them. That shot is not going to convert. The other 3 are going to fire into the 57mm anti-tank weapons. With 3 shots from the main cannons going into the anti-tank weapons needing a 5, 2 of them are going to be good. 4 up gun saves will need to be taken, and Wade is going to make both of these. We then have some shots coming from the German infantry at the train station into the American infantry in the building, and several hits will go through. Infantry saves will need to be taken. 3 ups are required. There will be a few of these that fail, and there will be 1 successful firepower test, eliminating 1 of those stands. As we wind down the shooting step, the Panthers are going to fire into the 81mm mortar platoon as well. They need 5s. They convert on 2 hits. 3 up infantry saves need to be taken. Both of these are successful. And we're going to move into our first assault of the day, as the Volksgrenadiers are going to charge into this infantry platoon in the building. Chris charging with 2 of them, able to get into contact. And defensive fire is being conducted. Only 2 of shots will be able to be made in defensive fire. The rest are too far away. 1 of these is going to convert, and a 3 up infantry save will need to be taken, and it will be passed. The Germans do make it into the fight here, and they get 2 swings, but neither will be successful. The Americans are going to roll to counterattack, which is good, and they'll get 2 swings as well. The bazooka is hitting on 1 worse, however. The regular infantry stand will convert, the bazooka will not. It will cut down 1 of the German stands, and then they will roll to counterattack themselves. That is going to be successful, so 1 swing coming out, and that is going to be good. So that is going to take down 1 of those stands. The Americans are then going to roll for a counterattack, and this is going to be failed, so they have elected to break off, losing this combat. These Grenadiers are then going to consolidate. The Germans push forward, taking positions into the building, and over on Chris's right flank, the Panzer IVs are going to assault the 57mm. There will be no defensive fire here. He'll get 3 swings, and he is going to successfully take down 1 of these guns. A motivation test will be taken here to see if they want to counterattack, and that is going to be failed, so that other gun is going to be eliminated. The Panzer Force will then consolidate, and this brings us to the end of Chris's second turn. We go back over to the Americans for the bottom of 2. American starting step looking to unpin units over on the right flank. There will not be any successes. And then moving to the infantry in the middle, they are successfully going to unpin. And then over on the left flank, we have everybody pinned down over here as well. So rolling to unpin the HQ unit, as well as the infantry platoon. The infantry platoon will initially fail, but getting a reroll from the company commander is good. The 81mm mortar platoon is going to attempt to dig in, and that will be successful. And this lone rifle stand over here is going to attempt to dig in as well, and that is going to be successful as well. In the shooting step, one of the mortars is going to attempt to range in on these grenadiers approaching down the flank. Needing a 5 as it is over terrain, he is going to range in on the second attempt, so that will be a +1 to hit. And rolling up for additional mortars that are locking into the infantry on top of the hill. This team is successfully going to get ranged in on the second attempt. It will not cause any casualties, however. Another mortar team is attempting to range in as well. They successfully get it on the first attempt, and there will be a failed save there. They will eliminate one of the infantry stands. With the remaining mortars resolved, this brings us to the end of the American turn, and we go back over to the Germans for the top of turn 3. And moving into the German third turn, the Panzer IVs are going to make their way forward, looking to potentially push this infantry platoon off the objective. Chris does go back and roll to unpin some infantry there on the hill for his starting step, and that was not successful even with the reroll from his HQ. The movement step continues with German half-tracks barreling down the road. We've then got the infantry platoon next to them. They are relocating, moving towards the center of the field. This concludes German movement, and we move into the shooting step. And we have some guns up on the hill that are going to attempt to lay down some smoke for the advancing Panzer IVs. And they are getting an observation from the team in the building here, and are going to roll all of these at once and easily going to range in for smoke. And we lay that down. This is going to negate what they can do for defensive fire. And with smoke hitting the battlefield, we do have a repeat bombardment coming next to it. And it looks like both of these command stands in the HQ are going to be hit by the bombardment. And these saves are going to be failed. It goes to firepower. The first one is good. And the second one is good as well. He does successfully roll a 3-up to jump to another platoon. And then mortars continue to rain down on repeat bombardments. We do see another infantry stand on that flank eliminated, and while this is happening on the other side of the board, repeat bombardments raining down on this mortar platoon as well as the rifle platoon, as they have been the entire game. And with some pretty good shooting from the Germans, infantry saves are being taken 3-ups, rolling these 2 at a time as they have to be re-rolled if successful. We're going to see one of the teams get eliminated here. And overall, the Germans just continue to hammer American positions. And with that bombardment finished, we're going to see these grenadiers open up. 4 shots going into the ones in the building, the rest going into the mortar platoon that's just across the fence line there. And everyone's going to take a hit in the building. Only 1 infantry save is failed, and the firepower test was unsuccessful, so that platoon will be unharmed, but will be pinned. With more shots pouring from the German assault rifles into the mortar platoon, he's going to roll up several hits here. The Panzerschreck is going to miss, and getting those hits assigned, 2 on the one at the bottom. The rest are going to take 1 as well, and infantry saves are going to be rolled out. I believe 1 may have been failed here, but the firepower was no good. Next, a group of the German half-tracks will open up with their 2cm cannons as well as their machine guns on the platoon in the building. And again, putting several hits onto that platoon. Each one will take a hit. the platoon leader getting the machine gun. Once again, 3-up infantry saves will need to be taken. We do see a fail on the first one, so this will go to a firepower test, and that is going to be successful, so they are causing casualties. The rest of the infantry will successfully make their saves. We move to the half-tracks here that are further up the board, splitting fire with main cannons going into the 81mm mortars, the machine guns going into the infantry and the building. And we've got one hit on the mortar platoon that is saved. A few machine gun shots into the building. We're going to see one fail here, but the firepower test will not convert. The Panthers as well as the PaK-40s open up fire as well, and they are not going to get any successful kills. So with that, we are going to move to the assault step. And moving to the assault step for the Germans, the half-tracks are going to charge into the American mortar platoon, and we are going to see some defensive fire rolling out. The bazooka hitting on a 5 is going to connect here. The rest are rifle teams, and 2 of those rifle teams did hit, but they are going to successfully bounce the shots. The bazooka goes to a firepower test, and it fails, so one of those half-tracks will be bailed out, but the assault will continue. There will be 2 swings coming in from the half-tracks. Both of those are going to miss. The Americans do test a counterattack, and they will do so successfully. So 2 swings coming from them. They are going to get a hit, and that is going to successfully be bounced. The Germans then roll up to counterattack themselves. They are coming back in, and with 2 swings, they are going to take down one of the mortar teams. The Americans rolling up to counterattack again, and this is not going to be successful this time. They are going to break off. With the remaining teams falling back, the half-tracks do consolidate, and then we have another assault taking place as the Grenadiers are charging American positions at the building. Defensive fire is conducted by the Americans. They do land 2 hits. Infantry saves will fail 1, so 1 stand will be taken down, but the assault will continue. And they will get 2 swings, and they are going to be successful on both of those swings, taking down 2 of the American teams. The Americans are going to counterattack, and they will get 1 swing, successfully taking down one of the German stands. And now the Germans roll up to counter. They do not, and we do have them falling back into a building. Back over on the other flank, and a chance to determine the outcome of this game, the Panzer IVs have charged in and will assault the infantry platoon. With no successful defensive fire, there's going to be a stand eliminated here. Only 1 stand goes down out of 4 dice, but the Americans are going to have to test a counter. If this is unsuccessful, they would get pushed off this objective and potentially end the game. The Americans are going to successfully counterattack, however, and they pile into the Panzer IVs, looking to put as many swings on them as possible. The Americans are only going to get 2 swings here, and they are small stands, so they do need 5s in order to hit. And Wade's going to get a pretty solid dice roll here, as both of them are going to hit. However, thankfully for Chris, both of the saves were made. And with an unsuccessful motivation roll, the Panzer IVs are going to break off. The Americans hanging in there, hanging on to that objective. Over to the American starting step, the mortar platoon is going to attempt to unpin, and they will successfully do so. They still have to take a last stand test, however, and that is going to be failed, and they are going to run off the board. We then have another last stand test coming from the rifle platoon along with the mortar. They are going to fail as well and scoot off the board. The rifle platoon in the back is going to successfully unpin, and then we look towards the middle of the board. They will not unpin, so they're rolling a last stand test. They are going to stay in the fight with 1 stand remaining. We check the rest of the units in the starting step and roll up for reserves, and 1 will come in. He's going to bring in one of the Sherman 75 tank companies, and while American morale is low, they are going to see if they can try to swing the game potentially back in their favor. The Americans reserve in a scattered position coming in on the back of the board. And the Americans are going to go right into the shooting step, and the Sherman 75s are going to take 6 shots at those German half-tracks, needing 5s. And he is going to roll up 1 for each, and going to a firepower test on these. And they are all going to be successful. All of those half-tracks go up in smoke. And with limited reinforcements coming onto the board and forgetting to pop the ambush, we're going to go ahead and move to the Germans for the bottom of 4, because there's a lot that's hinging on what these Panzer IVs can do. The German artillery continues to pound American positions, causing a lot of casualties. Chris was going to lay down smoke here to prevent defensive fire, but we move forward, and eventually these Panzer IVs are going to charge this American position. And with the Panzer IVs on the assault, the defensive fire is not going to be enough to turn them away. They are going to eliminate these 2 American stands or force them to fall back. The Americans are not going to successfully mount a counterattack. They will be pushed off the objective, and this game is going to belong to the Germans. And with the Germans taking this position, it will be a German victory. Really hope you enjoyed watching this battle report. It was a little different. It was a little harder to film, a little harder to narrate, just a little overall harder to produce, not being at home and able to take things a little slower and get more of those still shots. I still hope that the final product was good enough for you to enjoy. As always, look forward to bringing you more Flames of War content down the future, hopefully with some of my own armies. And if you like this video, be sure you leave a like down below, as that really helps. I'd also like to say thank you to the 2022 Coffee Supporters Club. Your names are on the screen now. If you'd like any information on that, a link will be down in the description below. It's by no means necessary, and quite frankly, if you've watched the video this far, you've done more than enough to support my channel. Once again, thank you so much, and we will see you in the next one. Take care.